Well, hi everyone, and welcome back to Shiji Insights, the podcast where we chat with hospitality leaders who are shaping the future of our industry. I'm Florencia Cueto, and today we're heading to one of the UK's most iconic resorts, the Belfry. You may know it for its legendary golf courses, but there's much more going on behind the scenes, especially when it comes to tech, guest experience, and innovation. So, we're going to hear how the Belfry is blending tradition with transformation and what that looks like in practice. So, settle in and let's dive into today's conversation with Emma Cotterall, who's the Senior Finance Director at the Belfry. Hi, Emma.
Hi, Florencia. Thanks for inviting me on. Good to be here.
Thank you for joining Shiji Insights. So, Emma, first things first, what makes the Belfry unique in terms of guest experience?
I think the Belfry is, people know the Belfry for its golf. People know that we've hosted the Ryder Cup 4 times, more than anywhere else. They know that iconic tradition, but we are so much more than just golf. And we try to create the best possible experiences for such a wide range of our guests, whether it's people coming for a business meeting, whether it's couples on a romantic weekend away, whether it's families, whether it's blended families, grandparents with their teenage grandchildren, and they can't quite figure out how to get them off their phones, and they come to the Belfry, they're at the driving range, they're in the spa, they're eating together and creating memories. That's what it's all about.
And when it comes to creating memories, how has guest expectation evolved in recent years?
I think it's shifted from quite a functional product. You know, we're giving you a bedroom, we're giving you a hairdryer, a kettle, to something much more emotional, something much more about that experience. So guests take for granted that they're going to have a pleasant environment to stay in. It's about, will they be welcomed? Will there be things for them to do? How does that whole short break feel? We've very much moved away from a single night, single event stay into a proper short break resort where people can come and never feel they have to go outside what we can offer.
And in terms of these short break resorts, how does the team at Belfry, how do you design and deliver this memorable guest experience?
So we've done a lot of work looking at different customer groups. We use our questionnaire feedback, our guest feedback, and we really try and track that whole journey from when you drive onto the resort, whether you, so it's a slightly different journey for a golf guest, for a spa guest, for a business guest. And I have the utmost admiration for our front office and our front desk teams, because they can turn on a sixpence to greeting a family with two small children and making them feel welcome, to a corporate guest who's in a hurry and late for their meeting and just wants to be told which way the meeting room is. And the technology that we've got at the front desk enables the staff to really know who they're expecting and be ready for the right mix of people on different days.
So you just mentioned the technology. So I guess the role of technology is really important when it comes to personalization, to being on the move, right? The fact that it's mobile in terms of data, insights. So actually, can you tell us a bit more about the tools or how technology can support the Belfry within their strategy?
Yes, so we look every day actually at who we're expecting in the next day, whether they are a long stayed guest, a high spend guest, here for a special occasion, here with a group, and we plan the service that we're going to give, who we're looking out for, who needs a personal meet and greet, who needs a teddy bear in their bedroom for a birthday, and try and we use the tech to make sure that those tasks happen, so that the guest feels looked after as an individual rather than as one of many.
Okay, so at the end of the day, technology adds right into the whole equation, adds in terms of better supporting, better knowing your guests, right, when it comes to providing an excellent service.
Absolutely, and I think it also presents it to the teams in a way that is quite intuitive to them, so they're not searching through reams of paperwork. It's presented when they put the guest's name into the system. so that they're not searching around for it. And I think that makes life easier for teams, for our staff. It makes it easier for us to train them because it's much more intuitive, much more like what the systems that they use in their personal lives. And it gives them the time and the confidence to engage with the guests, because that's what, as we all know, hospitality is really all about.
Yeah, totally. And in a setting such as the Belfry, how do you balance tradition and innovation?
I think we have to blend the two. I think the Belfry does a remarkable job of acknowledging and recognizing our heritage, but also keeping up with the times. We're a much more vibrant, energetic resort than I think people sometimes expect. We've just been through a very large refurbishment and development. So we've refurbished all of our existing, all of our bar spaces. We've built 150 new bedrooms overlooking the golf course, massive event space, and that is really stunning. So they are really modern, sophisticated rooms, and they look straight out over the 10th fairway, which is an iconic part of our heritage. So it mixes the two really rather beautifully, we think.
And in terms of, because I recall in one of our chats you've mentioned about staff empowerment and how do you train, because currently at the Belfry there are different generations, right, that coexist at the same time and work at the same time. Can you tell us more about some staff empowerment or training actually to deliver that guest experience, right, to make those memorable guest moments?
Yeah, so we have team members from 16 to over 80 amongst our colleagues, which is fantastic because you've got that amazing range of experience and they can really engage with different groups of guests. But it's also something about giving them the confidence to do so. And there's a Belfry culture that we try and instill in all of our team members. So we've done a really great piece of training recently. We call it Belfry DNA. So it's what's at the heart of creating that Belfry experience. And that training is, it's all about the guest experience, but also all about working together. So we get people into almost a locked room mystery, or into a game where some of them blindfolded and the others have to tell them what to do and what direction to go in. And it gets quite competitive, quite loud, quite exciting. But we have housekeepers working with
having different generations as well, right? Because they understand completely different ways, most probably. So
absolutely. So you have a chef working with a housekeeper, working with a receptionist, working with an accounts assistant to solve a problem, because we're all there in the end to create that experience for the guests. So it's putting that at the heart of everything that we do.
And since when did you start implementing the Belfry DNA?
So we did it over this summer. With the development opening, we've taken on quite a lot of new team members. So it was about something to bring everybody together and everybody into the same culture.
And how's the feedback that received by the team? I guess they have to be over the moon, right?
Yeah, they've really enjoyed it. And I think it's always a challenge, isn't it, to get people to step away from their day job into a training session, but they've got really good value out of it. And our guest scores since we opened the development have been the best they've been all year. So we're thrilled.
No. So at the end of the day, right, if you take care of your internal guests or internal clients or your team members, right, this is reflected at the end of the day in the surveys, and it's reflected on the experience, right, that you actually deliver to your guests.
It is, and it's giving people the confidence not just to follow the process or do the task, but to be hosts, to welcome our guests into the Belfry and really feel proud of it and own it. And then they are much more welcoming and positive.
Yeah. Because there's a big change, right, in terms of like the attitude. Even sometimes when a title is changed to a host, right, it's all about welcoming. It's all about making guests feel home, right? It's like it makes a difference, right?
It does, and I think when our teams feel part of a Belfry family, then they really are welcoming guests into their home, if you like, to create that fantastic experience. You want people to have fun when they come around to your home, don't you?
Of course, especially because, as you mentioned, it's a short break destination, right? So you've got X amount of days, right? Which are not perhaps like in other kind of resorts where they stay longer. So you've got, I guess, 2 to 3 days, right, to
Yes.
deliver those exceptional experiences.
Yeah, that's a typical stay.
So, Emma, looking ahead, is there any advice, right, for other hoteliers that are aiming to elevate their guest journey?
I think I've ever had is to experience the journey as a guest. Go and stay as a short break in your own resort. I hosted a family party here, and you see that guest journey in a really real sense. I knew I had, I had about 100 friends and family coming round. I was going to give a speech. I was nervous, and so you see where the guest journey touch points really work and where they don't, and where an event coordinator can really support someone who's organising an event, or a receptionist can calm down children who are maybe tired or grumpy after a long journey, where your signage isn't good enough, where your receptionists don't necessarily know all the information that they need, where things have and haven't been coordinated. So I think put yourselves, don't just think through the guest journey, go and actually do it.
Okay, just like Nike, just do it, right? You gotta,
yes.
you gotta experience, you gotta practice your preach, right? So in that kind of way, you gotta actually get into, right, the shoes of the guest and understand what is it that they go through, and I guess how technology can help you, right, in this digital guest journey, right? How it helps in those kind of support that kind of friction or those moments that are key prior to arrival, during stay, or even post departure.
Exactly. And I think those touch points are different for different groups of guests. That's certainly what we find. So, is your online check-in experience really seamless for a corporate guest who just wants to get in and out as quickly as possible? Do you have the right activities available for the kids? When your hen party gets to the spa, is the Prosecco on hand ready for them? So it's something tailored. I think that personalization that you mentioned earlier is absolutely critical, and you can use the technology to make sure the right things are in the right place at the right time. So.
Yeah, no, especially because you were talking about such a varied business mix that at the end of the day, right, because sometimes there's properties that aim at a specific business mix, but you've got quite a wide range. So to accommodate to all those needs, it's quite, there's a lot of thinking behind the scenes, right, for the magic to happen at the end of the day.
There is, and there's definitely a magic mix that works really well, and you can see it in our Brabazon bar of an evening when the people who've been in meetings all day are there, the people who've been on the golf course all day are in there, the people who've been in the spa all day are in there, and there's some live music going, and it gets very lively. It's a nice mixture.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Emma, because this brings us to the end of today's conversation with Emma Cotterall at Belfry. It's really inspiring to see how a property with such rich heritage continues to innovate, but also to lead, right, in the guest experience and operational excellence. So if you enjoyed this episode, do not forget to subscribe to Shiji Insights and share with your colleagues in the industry. You can find all of our episodes on Spotify and YouTube, and of course at our website. So thank you so much, Emma, for joining us today. It was an absolute pleasure having this conversation with you.
Lovely to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.